There's more to the world than what you see. In this video, I'm going to teach you some psychological facts that will blow your mind and change your whole perspective on life. Hey everybody, and welcome to Psychology Shark. Today I want to share with you 11 fascinating psychological facts about human psychology that will give you a totally new perspective on reality. These are all things we take for granted every day, but there's so much more going on in our heads than we think there is. So go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Fact number 1. Beginnings and ends are easier to remember than middles.
Our brains can only hold so much information that it has to choose what it will remember. Think of any event you've been going through in the past and that has marked you. Chances are, you only remember how it started and how it ended, but you won't remember everything in between. Because of that bias that we have, students and professionals from all over the world use the Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro technique is a time management method that breaks down your time in small increments, therefore creating more beginnings and more endings. Using this method not only helps you start virtually any tasks, but it also helps in greatly improving your retention rate. In its most common form, this method is used by working 25 minutes and then taking a short 5 minutes break. Sounds simple, right? Unfortunately, common sense is not common practice, so make sure to try it and to stick to it for at least 7 days, and then come back here to tell us what was the impact on your productivity and your retention rate.
Fact number 2. The negativity bias. The human mind is hardwired for negativity as a safety mechanism.
Switching from negativity to positivity has been proven to be much harder than switching from positivity to negativity. Research suggests that it takes approximately 3 positive things to outweigh a single negative thing. Our minds may be wired for negativity, but we have control over the choices that we make, and we can retrain our thoughts. To start retraining your thoughts, start with being grateful for what you already have in your life. The human brain is not easily fooled, and trying to make it believe that everything is fine when it's not can ultimately backfire. Can you understand now how the gratitude hype can quickly help you in outweighing the negativity?
Fact number 3. Your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and something you vividly imagine.
Have you ever noticed how most people always end up being right? You might have already heard some of these beliefs. I can't imagine running a marathon. It's just too hard. I'm not an early bird. I wasn't born with this skill. And the list goes on. Oprah once said, anything you can imagine, you can create. And this statement has since then been proven by science. Elite athletes have been using this well-kept performance hack for decades, and according to studies, anyone can use this technique to achieve more. Vividly imagining yourself doing the steps you'll have to take to complete a complex task or project has been proven to have the same effect as physically performing the task. There is no right timing to use visualization. You can use it in the morning before a big presentation, or you can even use it weeks and months before an event. Make sure that next time you're tackling a project or a task that is outside of your comfort zone to run through the entire process and visualize yourself completing it.
Fact number 4. The Dunning-Kruger effect.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is a form of cognitive bias that makes us more prone to overestimate our own capabilities. This is partially due to the fact that our brain is wired to save energy and therefore creates shortcuts based on past experiences that make us more prone to biases in the future. Even when we don't have all the information, we can jump to conclusions based on a completely different experience because we're not aware that we don't have all the information. I'm sure it has never happened to you, but you can certainly recall a time when someone you know very closely jumped to conclusions, right? If you find yourself in a situation like this again, to prevent yourself from falling victim to this bias, try challenging your own reasoning by asking more questions and by learning to investigate the answers you get as a source of new information.
Fact number 5. The law of reciprocity suggests that we're programmed to want to help someone who's helped us.
If you retain only one thing out of this video, make it the law of reciprocity, and it will change your social interactions forever, whether it's in your personal life or in your professional life. This law can increase your influence, it can give you an unfair advantage in many situations, and is also often considered as one of the greatest persuasion techniques. Simply put, we feel an obligation to repay a favor. Small acts of generosity, as small as bringing a coffee to your colleague, paying the tab, or opening the door for someone, can trigger the law and make people not only appreciate you, but also feel as if they have to repay you. Be wary of this law, as it can be used without any ulterior motives, but it can also be used by people who have a bigger agenda.
Fact number 6, we aren't as good at multitasking as we think we are.
Studies after studies have shown that we've got multitasking all wrong. The brain simply switches between tasks very rapidly, creating a feeling of multitasking when all we're really doing is splitting our attention between multiple tasks. Try it for yourself. Try counting to 20 and saying the ABC as fast as you can, and then mix them up together, A1, B2, C3, and see for yourself the effect of multitasking. Think of your brain as a very high-end computer that has limited processing power. It can run multiple things at once, but you're splitting its power towards the multiple applications that are running in the background. The point is, we're not multitasking, we're diluting our efforts.
Fact number 7, the confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias is a tendency to interpret facts in a way that confirms what we already believe. Confirmation bias is another form of shortcut that we use to simplify the information. Rather than looking for a different point of view or an opposing one, we'll look for opinions that solidify what we believe. To deal with all the information that we're exposed to, our brains will create filters to know what it should be focusing on. If you believe your classmate or your colleague hates you, there is a pretty high chance that the small positive things that he does go unnoticed.
Fact number 8, the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Whatever we believe in, we will experience. The self-fulfilling prophecy explains why our thoughts, actions, and outcomes all end up aligned. Take failure, for example. When we believe that we will fail a task or that we are not worthy of a relationship, and the desire to remain consistent, our mind will do everything in its power to stay true to that thought. In situations like these, our beliefs get the best of us and we manifest thoughts into reality. Henry Ford's famous quote takes all its power here. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Other forms of self-fulfilling prophecy are the Pygmalion effect and the Golem effect, which both explain the importance of great leaders. What a leader expects from his students or colleagues will have a direct impact on their performance. Because of the Pygmalion effect and the Golem effect, generally negative expectations will result in negative results, and positive expectations will result in positive results.
The Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule.
The Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, explains that 20% of what you do results in 80% of your outcomes. If you look at your to-do list, chances are that only a few of these to-dos will actually move the needle forward. The 80-20 is all about focusing your attention on the actions that will have the biggest impact at the end of the day. To start applying the 80-20 rule, you need to identify your vital few, frequently referred to by business professionals as your top 3 or top 5 goals for the day. By focusing on what will yield the biggest returns, you free up time in your agenda for the things that matter the most to you, and you make the 4-hour workweek coined by Tim Ferriss really possible.
Fact number 10, our brain wants us to be lazy.
It's official. You can now blame your brain for being lazy. Nothing too scientific here. Evolutionarily speaking, our brain simply evolved in a way that makes conserving energy a good thing. When food was scarce and that predators were threatening our ancestors' survival, they had to be ready for anything. Unfortunately, that mechanism no longer serves us and is far from beneficial to us today, since we're no longer at risk of being eaten alive by a predator. On top of conserving energy, laziness can also translate in not taking into consideration the future. Our ancestors never had to worry about retirement or their waistline, therefore, overspending or overeating was never an issue for them.
Fact number 11, our brain is unfit for the era we live in.
With all the data used, our brain is in need of a serious upgrade. Just like we update our software and buy new computers to replace the old, we need to update the technique we use and let go of the old methods that no longer serve us. Amongst the many problems that we're facing, procrastination is one that every single human will face at one point or another in their life. That's where chunking down information and breaking things down come into play. The practice of chunking down helps turn information into bite-sized pieces that help us retain information. Your short-term memory can only hold onto so much information at a time, which is why using chunking can be extremely beneficial. Another form of chunking down, often simply referred to as breaking things down, consists of chunking down a project into manageable steps in an effort to make it easier and clearer to complete. Let's take writing a book, for example. You don't really have to write a book to start, right? Your first step is to write the outline. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit that like and subscribe button to help our content rise to the top. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.